If you or someone you know is new to barbecue or they're an enthusiast and their brisket just really sucks, this is probably why. Before I come to the rescue and solve your brisket problems, let's review what we're looking for. A flavorful, barky exterior, tender throughout, and able to support its own weight. If you're new to barbecue, you're probably using a pellet smoker or some type of gravity-fed, temperature-controlled system, so that's probably not the problem. What you season the brisket with can definitely impact the end result. Now, there's a lot of companies and barbecue rubs out there, but you need to find out what's right for the cook that you're doing. With a brisket, if you do the prep and the cook right, you're gonna have great results. But stay away from barbecue rubs with unnecessary fillers, ingredients, or too much sugar. Now, I'm not against sugar, and I'm not just a salt and pepper guy. There's plenty of awesome ingredients in a good beef rub or something with low sugar that'll be great on a brisket. These are some great options. A good brisket or beef rub is gonna have some similarities. Salt, pepper, and garlic to name a few, but you use what you like. Now, I'm not just endorsing these brands or saying this is what you should use on your brisket. Hell, I don't even use these on my brisket every time. They were just in my everyday use cabinet in the pantry, so I brought them out. Now, let's get into it. The biggest challenge and reason you might be having less than ideal results for your brisket is the trim. So today, I'm gonna show you how I trim a brisket, and hopefully, it helps you next time you decide to do one. First thing, picking out the brisket, go with choice or prime. Don't spend the extra money on Wagyu. In picking one out at the store, I always focus on the flat, looking for good marbling and a thickness that's consistent from the left to the right side. I was fooled when I picked this one because this thin part here was folded down, and I thought it was more of a similar thickness to the other side of the flat. This thinner side, I don't want it to protrude out because it's gonna cook a lot faster than the rest of the brisket. You don't want those frayed, discolored edges. I don't know if that's from processing or what, but it's crap. Remove the decal and hard fat, but don't go too crazy because you want it to have a smooth, uniform shape. As I'm trimming, I usually think to myself, is this going to improve the cook? Is this going to help it taste better? And if the answer is no, take it off. Although the fat cap and the point here has a lot of protection with that extra exterior fat, you don't need all of that when smoking it to protect the meat. The point has tons of intermuscular fat, so it's going to be protected. So I like to remove all that and take it all the way down to the meat. After I get this top section of the point all nice and cleaned up, I'm moving down to the flat to get all that gray skin off. As you move from the point to the flat, you'll see a nice consistent slope. Try to maintain that. Now this part is really tedious. A lot of people don't do it because it's annoying and it sucks, but you don't want to eat that. Now this gash right here, I see him all the time. I think it's from the butcher, not sure, but it's fine. That edge of the flat was protruding up, so I just took it off and it actually made the whole thing more flat and consistent. Now that this side's done, I'm flipping it over to the fat cap side where I'll be doing just as much work in a different way. After trimming a few awkward bits there on the side, you can notice that it's all hard fat. That needs to get cut out, so I get to work. I like to remove almost all of the fat on the fat cap side from the point, but I'll leave at least an eighth, if not a quarter inch, on the whole flat. The flat is flat, but the point is a bit awkward. The most important thing here is removing all this thick fat. Since there's so much intermuscular fat already, it'll be protected while it smokes. But as you can tell, it's awkward, there's weird grooves, and there's a funky shape to it. And you'll see big chunks just like that are hard fat that you want to remove. But if you remove every little bit from the exterior, you're gonna have a lot of concave sections and weird grooves, and you don't want that. You want the whole brisket to be smooth and sleek, so all that smoke can roll over the meat and over the fat and cook consistently. I've removed most of the exterior fat from the point while still keeping that consistent cone head type shape, which is great and what I want. But this is the flat. It's easy. It's pretty consistent. There's not going to be too many surprises, except for that little guy there. I scalped it. You don't want to do that. You want to keep about an eighth to a quarter inch thickness through the whole flat section of the fat cap. But here I'm just kind of shaving off fat and little bits. And by running your hand over it, you can feel for harder, thicker sections of fat that you can shave off, so it's more consistent. Once I flipped this meat side up, I noticed that the flat had actually changed a little bit in shape. There was so much fat on the fat cap that I had trimmed off of the flat, so that section started protruding out. I just trimmed it off because I don't want that slanted slope and thinner section cooking faster than the rest of the flat. Now that I'm done, this will get seasoned up and go in the fridge for a few hours, but I've got plenty of tallow and burger for future cooks. Well, that was probably a 5-pound weight loss journey for this brisket, but don't feel like it wasn't totally necessary. You don't want all this hard fat and gray skin or these weird, awkward meat bits on your brisket. Set yourself up for success before you put this in the smoker. Do all this necessary trimming and you'll set yourself up for success for good results, because nobody's gonna eat a shitty 20-pound brisket, but they are gonna eat this 15-pound awesome trim brisket. It's going to yield great results and almost impossible to screw up on the smoker as long as you have consistent temperatures. So hopefully this was helpful, and until next time.